Citrus TV News, March Madness and the Sweet 16. How does SU's success affect local businesses?
And we have updates on the possible suspect of the Texas bombings who died today.
And Mark Zuckerberg is finally speaking out about the Facebook scandal with the private data mining company Cambridge Analytica. Citrus TV reporter Sabrina Majore is here to break down the scandal. All this and more on Citrus TV News, live at 6.
Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Welcome to Citrus TV News. I'm Connor Federico.
And I'm Rebecca Castor. We start our show with breaking news. ESF President Quentin Wheeler announced his resignation less than 2 hours ago. This announcement comes right as the campus governing body was starting to its second vote on confidence in less than 2 years.
Controversy started when Wheeler fired 3 respected department chairs only days before the start of this semester. ESF students and staff were upset Wheeler had not consulted them. 85% of ESF union members said Wheeler's contract should not be renewed in the most recent poll. Citrus TV News will continue to update this story. And in an interesting twist, local Syracuse doctoral students have found that warming climate change may be beneficial for upstate rivers and lakes. The study suggests that rising temperatures and less snowfall could lead to a decline in salinity in the Tioughnioga River. For years, rivers in upstate New York have become more polluted due to salt on roads and highways that can get into the water. According to the study, less snow would lead to less road salt and cleaner rivers.
Some major news from the Newhouse School. Students enrolling in either newspaper and online journalism or magazine journalism will be surprised to find the 2 majors are merging together in the fall of 2019. The new major will be called Magazine, News, and Digital Journalism. Students already singly enrolled in either major will not be affected, as there will not be a full curriculum for another 2 years.
And it's no secret to Orange fans that the Syracuse men's basketball team is still dancing. Citrus TV reporter Greg Bradbury is in studio to tell us how it's affecting local businesses' sales.
Well, behind me you can see the scene from when Syracuse beat Duke in the Dome last year. Fans are hoping the Orangemen can get another big win against the Duke Blue Devils this Friday. Everyone has been flocking to stores to gear up for the game, and businesses around campus have benefited from this year's tournament run.
The SU bookstore is where most students shop here on campus, and while they weren't seeing a great deal of sales from the beginning of the tournament, with the victory over Michigan State on Sunday, sales jumped dramatically overnight.
It's great. I mean, this whole rush for the last few days has been great. I mean, we wouldn't have had that, if it wasn't for this Sweet 16 push.
Down on Marshall Street, Manny's has seen a huge increase in sales and also tells us the hottest items people are buying for the game.
Well, as you can see, I'm smiling, so business must be good. Everybody's piling in the store, buying their Sweet 16 shirts, their Cuse Mode long sleeve t-shirts, short sleeve t-shirts. Anything with Cuse Mode is the hot topic today.
While many fans are picking up these items, some students are using what they have and think it's too early in the tournament to buy new merchandise.
I have not bought gear specifically for the tournament. I have a few shirts, but if they make it to the Final Four, I'll have to cop a Final Four shirt.
The Orange face a tough test against Duke on Friday night. If they can pull off a win, sales are only expected to increase.
So of course, the further they go, the better we do as a store, and that's important to the Syracuse community.
These apparel companies aren't the only ones that are seeing sales increase from the basketball team's success. Freedom of Espresso coffee shops around Syracuse are having drinks like the Dola Chai and the Sweet 16 tea. Greg Bradbury, Citrus TV News.
Now, Greg, when you were going to these places, how busy were they?
Well, all of them were packed. I went in the afternoon, and all of them, people were just flooding in and out, constantly going to grab new gear and get ready for this Friday's game. I stopped in at Manny's and talked to Bill there. He's a great guy, and basically he's just said he was swamped. People were coming in. The bookstore, people were constantly coming in, and even at T-Shirt World, they were just too busy. I wasn't even able to talk to anyone there, so it was just tons of people everywhere getting ready for this game. And now I have to ask you guys, have you guys bought anything for the game?
Well, I have not yet. I own plenty of Orange. I promise you that, Greg. I don't think I really need any more than I guess I already have.
Yeah, and Greg, why buy a Sweet 16 shirt when you can buy a Final Four shirt after they win this weekend?
That's what many students are hoping happens, and hopefully we can all get some Final Four merchandise soon.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. Upstate University Hospital is getting a new interim CEO. Head of the hospital's pathology department, Dr. Robert Corona, is being named the new interim chief executive after its old interim, who was hired last year, resigned. Corona is the second person to hold the position since early 2017, when former CEO John McCabe stepped down.
The New York Pension Fund is taking a stand to bring more women into the business world. The state comptroller announced that he is taking steps to make sure that New York companies have women on their boards. He says the pension fund can use its power to make sure big companies are more inclusive in their votes. The pension fund is in charge of over $200 billion. The Diocese of Buffalo released a list of 42 priests facing accusations of sexual abuse. The list includes priests who were removed, retired, or left the diocese following allegations. However, some victims believe this move is not enough and that the diocese must be hiding even more priests who have committed sexual assault. 40 priests have been accused of abuse in the Syracuse diocese.
Well, Rebecca, spring is underway, and it was an absolutely beautiful day here in Syracuse.
Yes, I loved seeing that sunshine today. Citrus TV weather anchor David Edelstein is here. Can we expect more sunshine this week, David?
Rebecca, in fact, you can. We have had some clouds here and there, but the sun will continue to peek through as we take a look right here, though. Speaking of the sun set tonight at 7:18 p.m. as every day continues to get a few minutes longer. Tomorrow is going to be even 3 minutes longer than today. Currently outside, 37 degrees in Syracuse. It feels like 26, though. There aren't really that many winds. It just feels cold outside because of some frigid air early in spring. As we take a look across the central New York area, Syracuse is actually in some of the higher temperatures in the area, 37 degrees. Rome is the high at 38 degrees. We do have Elmira at 36, but really in the low 30s across the region. As we take a look at today's highs and lows across New York State, New York and Montauk have been at the highest temperatures today, 39 degrees. Farmingdale close at 37. Then when we take a look at Fort Drum and Saranac Lake, which are the lowest temperatures we saw today, actually got down into negatives today. So as we take a look at our weather radar, you can see just some of those clouds like we were saying. The sun is peeking through some of those spots, but a lot of places on the East Coast were not as fortunate as Syracuse. They had a lot of snow. We'll take a look at the nor'easter and what that brought with it later in the broadcast.
Thank you, David. Looking forward to it. Coming up, updates on the suspect in the recent string of bombings in Texas.
And find out which country's parliament was filled with tear gas earlier today. Stay tuned.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where the cats go on vacation? New York.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at Citrus TV News, your campus news leader.
A prime suspect in the Austin bombings died in an apparent self-inflicted explosion this morning as SWAT team members closed in on his location.
Investigators identified the bomber's 24-year-old Mark Anthony Condit. Condit was accused of several bombings across Texas this month, including one yesterday close to San Antonio.
Police do not yet know Condit's moves and are still trying to determine whether there are more undetonated bombs across the area.
The president is, quote, furious about a leaked document showing that he ignored his security advisors.
The leak showed that Trump congratulated Russian President Putin on his election victory, despite his advisors writing, "Do not congratulate" on the top of his briefing. Trump is trying to find out who on his team leaked the information, with one of the staffers calling it a fireable offense.
It is unclear if Trump actually read the security briefing or if he just chose to ignore it.
And today was the funeral for the 6 people who died in last week's bridge collapse in Florida.
Hundreds of people showed up to mourn the victims who died on the Florida International University Bridge. 2 lawsuits have been filed already, and blame is being placed everywhere from the university to the Florida governor.
The Department of Transportation will start their investigation into the collapse later this week.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg will break his silence tomorrow on an alleged data mining scandal involving Facebook and private data company Cambridge Analytica.
Here to break it down more is CitrusTV analyst Sabrina Majore.
Thanks, guys. This is a pretty layered story, so we're going to take a step-by-step look at what we know so far. In 2014, Facebook released a personality test that harvested data from users and in turn data from their Facebook friends. Because of this, 27,000 people took the quiz, but nearly 50 million had their data harvested. A former employee at the London-based data mining company Cambridge Analytica claims that the data was then sold to them from Facebook. Both companies at this point are denying this claim. Whether this is true or not, Cambridge Analytica still acquired this data from Facebook and allegedly used it to aid Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Undercover video from Channel 4 News shows the CEO of Cambridge Analytica, Alexander Nix, claiming that he met with Trump many times during the election period. He also claimed that their company was mostly responsible for the vast amount of the Trump campaign's online activity. Nix has resigned since this video surfaced. Mark Zuckerberg has been noticeably silent on the scandal since it broke last week. However, he did speak with Congress about online privacy and data protection earlier today. Zuckerberg outlined the steps the social network will take to protect user data, including auditing third-party app developers who use Facebook data. This issue raises even more concerns of questionable behavior within the Trump campaign and the role of Facebook in the election. As of now, Facebook's value has plunged nearly $50 billion this week, and investors are filing a class action lawsuit against the social media giant. Rebecca and Connor, back to you.
Thanks, Sabrina. The European Union Commission is proposing a new tax plan for digital companies, and not everyone is happy about it.
The plan says companies with large online revenues like Google, Facebook, and Amazon would have to pay a 3% tax on their revenue. This is a fix to a growing concern about how to tax digital companies.
Some EU leaders are worried about targeting the United States. Many feel this could be seen as retaliation for the recent trade tariffs.
And take a look at this video. Opposition lawmakers in Kosovo's parliament set off tear gas canisters earlier this morning.
Lawmakers covered their eyes and noses and filled as smoke filled the room. The opposition party set the canisters off in protest of a border agreement with neighboring Montenegro that would allow visa-free travel.
Kosovo is one of 5 countries currently pending membership to the European Union.
Myanmar's President Chin Cho is resigning today to take a rest from the current duties and responsibilities of office.
There's been speculation for several months that Cho is in ill health, but this has not been confirmed. A new president will be announced in 7 days.
Myanmar's parliament will vote on who to install as the new leader of the country. Changes are coming to your Starbucks cup. Hear how the popular coffee franchise is taking steps to become more environmentally friendly.
And Marvel's Black Panther is making an impact on the big screen and your phone screen. Stay tuned to CitrusTV News.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. so he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
What are you, superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city.
Whoa!
Gear up, guys.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
The storm will get worse as the day proceeds. Don't be fooled. Don't look out your window today and say, well, it doesn't look so bad. It's going to get worse as the day goes on. If you don't have to travel, please don't be on the roads.
States of emergency have been declared for New York and New Jersey as this fourth nor'easter in 3 weeks goes right across the East Coast and now up the East Coast as well. Up to 1 foot of snow have been seen in many areas and between 4 and 8 inches in others. Many between 8 and 10 inches. Travel delays, of course, across the area, including airports. So if you must drive or you know someone who is driving, make sure you drive slow and safe. And as we take a look at this radar right here, you can just see this massive nor'easter going right across. Yesterday, we were talking about the fact that it was coming just east across Baltimore, across Washington, D.C., and was going to go either straight out into the Atlantic Ocean or up the East Coast. It chose the second path. It's now going up here. But as you can see, Syracuse in the central New York area really just avoided as it goes right underneath and to the east. As you take a look here tomorrow, right now when you wake up in the morning, 27 degrees. It will still feel a little bit colder though, but throughout the day the temperatures will rise. The high that's going to get to is 35 degrees with a low of 27 degrees. That's because the winds should be okay, but watch out for some of those gusts hitting over 20 miles per hour. There is a slight chance of precipitation, but nothing that we should really be worried about. Tomorrow throughout the day, the high should be about 5 p.m. You get to noon, it's 31, and by 6 p.m. it's still up there at 34 degrees. It will be cold, and there will be some partial sunshine as we've seen today and yesterday through those clouds. Precipitation chances throughout the next few days. On Thursday, not too much tomorrow, but as you get to Friday, that's where we can see some flurries as it will be cold enough to turn into some ice and some snow. On Saturday, this precipitation chance just goes away. Sunday, not at all. Monday is when it comes back, and then on Tuesday, it does go back up to a 30% chance. So there is a slight chance. Friday, the most likely for some precipitation. We see that on our 5-day forecast, some flurries. Temperature really consistent around 35 degrees. A little bit of an uptick on Sunday when it hits 39 and then into the 40s on Monday. Will that continue? We'll talk about that later in the broadcast.
Thanks, David. You may not be seeing your usual Starbucks cups for much longer. The company is making a new commitment to redesign paper coffee cups so they can be more widely recycled. Their plan includes allocating $10 million for a 3-year program that would back entrepreneurs working on similar environmental problems. Ringo Starr was knighted for his contributions to music. The Beatles member was honored by Prince William on Tuesday. Starr was awarded for his work in the music industry and numerous charities. He is most recognized for influencing and changing pop music during his time in the Beatles.
And Marvel's Black Panther is #1 in the movie theater and on Twitter. In a statement yesterday, Twitter said Marvel Studios' Black Panther is the most tweeted about film ever. Black Panther is grossing over $1 billion globally and has a near perfect review score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Just a couple more days until Syracuse plays in the Sweet 16. Still feels a little bit crazy to say that. Up next, the Orange has to get past Duke. Does the Cuse have a shot? We've got the answer on the other side. Stick around.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Welcome back. I'm Drew Carter. Everybody's working for the weekend. That's pretty much always the case. But it's especially true this week. Syracuse men's basketball is still dancing in the NCAA tournament. And on Friday, SU takes on Big Bad Duke in the Sweet 16. The Blue Devils have looked like a freight train so far, both of their wins coming by more than 20 points. Compare that to the Orange, whose combined margin of victory in 3 games is just 11. Now, Syracuse knows all too well just how good this Duke team can be. Less than a month ago, they played at Cameron Indoor Stadium, and it was ugly. The final score 60-44 in favor of the Blue Devils. Now, the Orange didn't have a single player above 12 points in that one. That doesn't provide much hope for Syracuse fans, but junior guard Braden Bayer says this team has already done the unthinkable.
I mean, it's amazing, like, to be in it, like, to get the call that we're in the tournament, and then to get to playing game and then beat TCU, and now to get to the Sweet 16. I mean, no one, I guarantee 90% of brackets didn't have this. So, I mean, we're just trying to keep on dancing and keep making this run. So.
Shifting gears, the SU women's lacrosse team is on a bit of a roll right now. Yesterday, the Cuse made the trip to Ithaca and doubled up Cornell, 14-7, the final from Schoelkop Field. More of the same from Emily Harris-Chuck, who scored 5 goals and now has a hat trick in 6 of 8 games this year. Riley Donahue put up a pair of goals as well. She's now one of just 9 players in school history with 200 career points. The Syracuse field hockey team doesn't hit the field for a few more months, but they're still making news. Today, the Orange earned the Division I Team Academic Award, which goes to the programs with a GPA of 3.3 or higher. And speaking of making news, tomorrow night you can get an in-depth look at the Syracuse men's lacrosse team. ESPNU is airing This Season, a series that focused on 4 national powerhouses, the Orange plus Duke, North Carolina, and Ohio State. That's good news for SU. The bad news is they dropped a couple of spots in the coaches poll today, down to number 15 after a blowout loss to Johns Hopkins last weekend. The Syracuse Crunch are locking up one of their most surprising players. Today, the team signed Olivier Archambault to a contract that runs through this season and next year, too. The 25-year-old forward has 13 points in 19 games with the Crunch and is currently riding a 5-game point streak. The NFL draft is a little over a month away, and the Bills are doing their homework. Today, Buffalo worked out 2 of the big-name quarterbacks in this year's crop, Josh Rosen from UCLA and Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma. ESPN's Todd McShay has Rosen at number 3 on his big board, and Mayfield just won the Heisman this year. The Bills picked 12th in the first round. And in the NBA, the Nets have no chance to make the playoffs as per usual, but hey, they've got a cute little 2-game win streak going right now. Tonight, Brooklyn plays host to Charlotte, who isn't very good either. A win tonight would give the Nets their first 3-game win streak of the year. Good for them. The Knicks are pretty bad too, but at least they have their draft pick. Not only that, New York has also won 2 in a row. The Knicks look to make it 3 straight tonight against the Heat. New York is 8-28 on the road this season, while Miami is 21-13 at home. So, guys, probably no chance for the Knicks tonight, as always.
Sure, right before you brutally insulted the New York basketball teams, you talked about the Buffalo Bills working out Mayfield and Rosen, both guys the Jets and Giants might want.
Yeah, and both those teams picking inside the top 3 this year, guys. So the Bills might have to trade up if they want to get one of those quarterbacks.
So not only is our men's basketball team playing Duke this weekend, but men's lacrosse is as well. What are the odds we win both games?
You know, I actually think, and this might be surprising, guys, the basketball team has a better chance than the lacrosse team does.
Wow.
That Duke lacrosse team might be the best in the entire country outside of Albany. Top 5 in both scoring offense and scoring defense. Duke basketball is great, but so is Syracuse basketball right now.
All right, thank you so much, Drew. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Don't go away.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. As we take a look at our 5-day forecast, again, that snow on Friday, just a little bit of flurries. The sun is still out. Now, it will continue to get warmer. Forecast has changed a little bit since yesterday. Not going to be really hitting the 50s as we go into mid next week, but we will still be in the high 40s.
David, I am honestly just so confused. It's sunny, it's spring, but it's still cold. What should I be wearing tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely spring, definitely still chilly. Think about it as 6 more weeks in winter in Syracuse. Like
6 more weeks?
Yeah, yesterday was our Groundhog Day in Syracuse. The official start of spring really means that winter's just sticking around a little bit longer. Should get a little bit better as their winds are staying low, but still keep that winter coat on for now.
All right, thanks, David.
We've talked a lot about March Madness today, and we have sports reporter Drew Carter here back with us. Now, Drew, I didn't make a bracket this year, but Connor did, and it's not looking so good.
Ugly this is.
What do you think about this bracket
Well,
at
a
this
lot
point?
of red.
But you've got your champ. You've got your champ. That's the
all
good
that matters.
news. So you take a look up here at the top left corner as I just steal this from you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Virginia, a lot of red because UVA lost in the first round.
Yeah.
But as long as you have your champion still in, you've got a shot.
You know,
So
I had
who's your
Gonzaga.
Final Four?
I had Gonzaga in the Final Four. I have Purdue in the Final Four still. Kansas is my champion, but I feel sort of badly. I had Syracuse out in the first round, but I think this is actually good luck. Dating back till high school, every time I pick Syracuse to make a run, they lose in the first round. And now I pick Syracuse to lose, and they go on this little run. So maybe I'm doing what's best for the team here.
The old reverse jinx.
Well,
Yes,
we have
absolutely.
Greg here as well, too. We brought him back, and he made a bracket as well. Who's your Final Four?
So my Final Four was Arizona, Michigan, Villanova, and Michigan State. And
yikes!
After hearing that,
I just want everybody to see the big red X on Greg's champion.
My bracket was basically busted on the first night, and so it's been a rough tournament for me. But hey, at least the Orange are doing well.
That's the way that it goes.
Absolutely.
Now I made a bracket, but opted not to print it.
Oh well, that's okay. Was it any better than this?
No comment.
All
No
right.
comment.
Thank you, Joe. And just a quick update on the Austin bombing story. Local authorities have searched and found explosives in the DZ's bomber's home. We'll have more on this story as it develops. I'm Connor Federico.
And I'm Rebecca Castor. Have a great night, Syracuse.